All right, hello and welcome everyone. So we are finally going to talk about Atlas Prime. So Atlas Prime, not hugely different from regular Atlas. However, there are some market improvements. In fact, he has the most improvements out of any Prime to date. He has higher armor, higher energy, higher health, higher shields, and higher sprint speed. So 5 stats have been improved, and he comes with an additional polarity. And because of that additional polarity, he actually doesn't need any forma for the build that I wanted to put onto him, which is really nice. Of course, there is room to grow with this, and you could go for a Umbral build if you wanted to push Atlas even further. And of course, you could switch out Steel Charge for Crow's Projection if you feel like that's going to be necessary for what you're wanting to do with Atlas. But for my purposes for Atlas, because he's not in an amazing place, let's say, this is more than fine. For any regular content in the game that you're going to want to bring Atlas to, this is going to be more than serviceable. Even for specialized jobs like bringing Orgaze and then a higher strength build, you're going to be able to very easily switch Orgaze to where Vitality is, or for adaptation, depending on which defensive mod you think is more valuable in your given situation, and then remove something like Augur Reach in order to put in like Transient Fortitude. Tons of extra points on this build, so there's no extra forma necessary to do things like that if you are going to be like trying to use Atlas for the Endo farm on Vodunoi and things of that nature. So, easy to put together, that's for sure. Unfortunately, it still stands that Petrify is a really good ability. Super solid stun, great stuff there. Has a really good base duration, so we don't need to build a ton of duration. We just want to keep our duration kind of normal. And the range on it is going to be super solid with our 190% range. Landslide, of course, this is Atlas's kind of the thing he's known for ability. He punches dudes, and with this build, it's going to do quite a bit of damage. 130% strength is more than fine as long as you have a good stat stick to go with it, which I'll be showing in a moment. And that's kind of the two things that Atlas does. Unfortunately, Tectonics is still not very useful, and is even less useful now, given that the index is basically just like run by Korra for the types of things that you'd want this to do there. And Rumblers are still just big, stupid rocks with no other purpose, unfortunately. I will, of course, in this video, state what I would do to those two abilities to make them useful and also, hopefully, very fun. But we'll get to that in a moment. First, let's look at the stat stick. So, Venka Prime, at current, his 1 is affected by combo. Venka has better combo, so we're using this as his stat stick. And this is what I have put into here. Has worked out very well for me. For anyone who's wondering why I'm using Corrosive, even though his 1 has an absolutely horrendous status chance, it is so that it is much easier to take care of Ancient Healers, because they are weak to corrosive damage. And then, of course, many Grineer smaller units are weak to corrosive damage, so this is overkill on those. And heavy gunners can be problematic sometimes, and they're weak to corrosive as well. Weirdly, Bombards, not a huge threat to Atlas because he usually just freezes them with his 3 whenever he sees them. So, good stuff there. And that's kind of the whole shebang. This is going to go how you would probably expect. So, let's do the test real quick, and then I'm going to go over what I would do to Atlas to kind of make him more relevant. But yeah, level 80 tests, normal stuff. Going to be very simple for Atlas because his 1 is good with this build. Like, the stat stick is solid. I've built enough duration where I'm going to be able to use my combo whenever it's necessary. I'm not going to like whiff and always get the first punch. I'm going to get the 2 follow-up punches that are considerably better a large amount of the time. And I have enough survivability because like you're invincible during your punches, so enemies aren't going to be able to really do anything about you. Like, of course, Atlas has problems with nullifiers and such because he doesn't really have any in-kit way to deal with them, and his survivability isn't enough to just be able to tank their hits at higher levels. But against like just your stock standard regular groups, or against like middling leveled enemies like these level 80s, he's going to perform just fine as long as you're a little bit careful. Now, I have gone over this in the past. I have a whole rework video on what I would do to Atlas, but I'm just going to go over it here because I think it would be really, really nice for Atlas to be just that little step better. Okay, so at current, nobody uses his 2. His 2 does look nicer with the Prime, by the way. You can see it's nice new aesthetics. So this is cool. Great, he can make a wall. Awesome. You can hit 2 again, and the wall turns into a ball and rolls. Great, wonderful. Not very useful, doesn't do very much damage. No one is using the rolling function of this. It is absolutely worthless for that. So, what would I do this ability? Very simple. You give it synergy with his like big home run ability, his 1. You throw down your 2, and then you hit 1 on the rock wall. You punch the rock wall, and it explodes into a giant rock shotgun that affects a cone. Probably like the same conal area that his 3 covers, and now he has a nice little like frontal AoE ability to shoot into crowds. Wonderful. Makes his 2 something you'd want to cast to augment your 1. Perfect synergy. Of course, this could be augmented even further by hitting your 2, hitting your 3, and then hitting your 1. Maybe give it like double, maybe even triple damage that way. That would be a nice payoff for combining those 3 abilities together. Also, wouldn't be surprised if everyone and their fucking mom forgot that you can enhance his 2 with your 3, because nobody does that shit. But that's the thing. And then for his 4, also extremely similarly, his 4 has a new glow up. It looks extremely nice. Like, I like these new golems. Probably the best golems he's had yet. They are very fun. Use your 1 on your rumbler, and then you just wear your rumbler. Like, the punch turns into you wearing your rumbler like armor. You get all their health and all their armor on top of your own for the duration of the ability. And then, boom, there you go. Now Atlas has like a very solid defensive ability that he can utilize, but needs to be a little careful with, because when the rumbler wears off, it's going to fall off. This could be pushed further to make Atlas even better by just removing the duration on his 4, which I think would be the right call personally, but might be more power than DE would want, so I could honestly see it both ways. And that's what I would change about Atlas, and I think he would be considerably better. Would it make him, like, amazing, top pick, meta contender? No, I don't think so. I don't think he's going to be moving in on Saren's territory if his 2 suddenly becomes a halfway decent AoE ability when combined with his 1. But I do think it would make him way more fun, because everyone I've ever told these changes to says that that would be awesome. Like, that's like pretty much the universal response to that. And I would just love Atlas to be a little bit better, because he deserves it. Like, in his 2 and his 3 should be made good. They're very underwhelming right now and never get cast. And them being a core part of his kit that you want to constantly be using, I think would just be healthier for his playstyle as a whole, because then it wouldn't be as much just spamming 1 at every single enemy you see and doing literally fucking nothing else. But yeah, that's Atlas Prime. He is workable as he stands. I would just love to see some improvements to him that I think would make him even better and kind of stand out more as a Warframe and have more internal synergy across his abilities. Anyway, that is going to do it for the video. This is kind of a, hey, here's Atlas Prime, and also kind of a refresher on like a rework video for Atlas in general. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments like what you guys think about my rework ideas for his 2 and his 4. It is worth noting that for his 4, for wearing the Rumbler armor, assets actually already exist in the game for that, because there is a Conclave augment where he does that with his 4. So those assets literally already exist. So I think it would actually be a rather low investment on DE's part to make these changes even, which is of course always good. Less development time on DE's end for a larger payoff, I think always works out for both the players and DE. So yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video.